In the speech, Ain't I a Woman? How does the author's use of specific words, phrases, and allusions affect the meaning and tone? In this lesson, you will learn how meaning and tone are impacted by analyzing an author's use of specific words, phrases, and allusions. As we investigate the text of this speech delivered by Soujourner Truth, it's important to keep some things in mind. First, authors choose specific words and phrases strategically to make their points. A carefully chosen word or phrase can add connotative meaning in the minds of the reader or listener. And as we approach certain parts of this text today, it's important to know a couple of background facts about the speaker Soujourner Truth. She became a Methodist preacher in 1843. When she became active in the abolition and women's rights movements, she was known for using references to the Bible in her speeches. Today, as we explore the text for words and phrases the author uses that contribute to the meaning and tone, we're going to use 3 steps. Step 1, reread the text to identify words or phrases which suggest a connotation to the meaning. Then step 2, we're going to ask, are there allusions to other texts which contribute significantly to text meaning? And then in step 3, ask yourself, how does the author's use of words, phrases, and allusions affect meaning and tone of the speech? My question to keep in mind is, in the speech, Ain't I a Woman? How does the author's use of specific words, phrases, and allusions affect the meaning and tone? I'm going to concentrate my attention on 2 specific portions of the text to answer this question. The first sentence of the speech and paragraphs 4 and 5. I will be looking at examples of words, phrases, and allusions that impact the tone of the speech. Step 1, reread the text, making note of any words or phrases which suggest a connotation to the meaning. I need to look closely for words or phrases that create a strong negative or positive association in my mind. I wonder why Soujourner Truth uses the word racket and the phrase out of kilter to refer to conversation about suffrage rights. That language creates a negative connotation in my mind. So right off the bat, I've identified a word and a phrase that add a negative connotation in my mind. Now I'm ready for step 2. Ask yourself, are there allusions to other texts which contribute significantly to text meaning? I remember paragraph 4. Something there reminded me of a story in the Bible. I will look at it again. Here it is. It says, then that little man in black there. I know that priests and ministers often wear black clothing, sometimes with a white clergyman's collar. So I think this man must be a minister. It looks like this minister has said that women can't have as much rights as men because Christ wasn't a woman. In the rest of the paragraph, it sounds like Soujourner Truth is talking back to the man. She asks him the same question twice and then answers her own question. Where did your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. Man had nothing to do with it. I'm thinking, this is an allusion to the Bible story of the birth of Christ. The woman she is referring to is Mary, Christ's mother. Continuing with our step of looking at allusions, I find another one in paragraph 5. Here it is. If the first woman ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, I'm thinking, this is an allusion to the biblical story of Eve when she ate an apple from the forbidden tree in the Garden of Eden. I think she is talking about Eve's strength to make the point that women are powerful. The final step is to ask yourself, how does the author's use of words, phrases, and allusions affect the meaning and tone of the speech? First, I need to think about the meaning of the word racket. In my mind, it means an uproar of some kind, a loud, disturbing, or confusing noise. Next, I need to think about the meaning of the phrase out of kilter. To me, it means something's not working well, it's out of order. So, based on the negative connotations of these words, I infer that Sojourner Truth used them purposely to create a negative feeling in the minds of the listeners about the ongoing debate concerning suffrage rights. Continuing with our step of looking at the impact of illusions, now I need to think about how the illusions affect the meaning and tone of the speech. I think Truth used the allusion to Mary to show that a woman could accomplish great things without the help of a man. I think she alluded to Eve because she wanted to point out the power of one woman and use that to challenge women to think about how powerful their voices could be if they united to fight for suffrage rights. My conclusion is, using biblical allusions adds credibility to Truth's arguments in favor of suffrage, proves the power of women, and adds the implication that suffrage is more than a political issue. It is also a moral and ethical issue. Now, I've done some good thinking about this part of the text. My last step is to jot down or write this thinking down. First, I want to review the original question. What was it that I was trying to find out? In the speech, Ain't I a Woman, how does the author's use of specific words, phrases, and allusions affect the meaning and tone? Based on my notes that I've made and my thinking, here's my answer. When Sojourner Truth talks about the suffrage debate, she uses the words racket and the phrase out of kilter. This language adds negative connotation and indicates two things. First, she sees the talk as a bothersome disturbance. Second, she thinks something is really messed up. Sojourner alludes to the Bible 2 times. Her allusion to Mary illustrates the importance of women in the eyes of God. The allusion to Eve establishes the power of women. Truth basically says that if Eve could turn the world upside down by herself, then women working together should be able to get it straightened out. The seriousness and credibility of Truth's speech is increased by her references to the Bible. There are 3 steps we use to show how meaning and tone can be impacted by an author's use of words, phrases, and allusions. First, we reread the text to identify words or phrases which might add a connotation to the meaning. Second, we ask, are there allusions to other texts which contribute significantly to text meaning? And third, we ask, how does the author's use of words, phrases, and allusions affect the meaning and tone of the speech? In this lesson, you have learned how meaning and tone are impacted by analyzing an author's use of specific words, phrases, and allusions.